Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday morning here in Melbourne. Because let's go across over to our friends over in the US, and we're heading to Utah in particular, and of course speak with the Utah women's basketball team. Of course, we've got two of our favourite basketball players over there at the moment. Of course, they join us right now from Utah to tell us a bit about the season coming up. Thanks so much, both of you, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
No worries. Well, I'll get both of you to introduce yourselves and tell us what position we're hoping to see you on the court once the season starts in about a couple of weeks.
My name's Izzy Palmer and I'm from Newcastle up in New South Wales, and I play like a shooting guard position. So one of the smaller guys out in the wing, not like Kelsey.
I'm Kelsey Rees. I'm from Adelaide, and yeah, I'm a centre power forward.
How's the pre-season heading towards that first game of the actual season in a couple of weeks?
Everyone's definitely looking forward to the games to get started. Preseason's been really good. We've got a couple of new people into our team. Everyone's been able to get on the floor and train. So it's been really nice to gel with everyone, get around everyone, lots of conditioning, lots of skill work, and getting ready for season, definitely.
Any expectations on this team?
I mean, we have more expectations on ourselves. I think we're a bit of an underdog in the Pac-12. I mean, it's probably the most competitive conference in women's basketball. And some of the top programs in the country, I think we've got 5 of us ranked in the preseason top 25 in the nation. So I don't think we're on too many people's radars, but we have expectations, I mean, to go the whole way like everyone does. But I think we actually have it in us. Like, it's not just something we're saying, like we have the ability to, be competitive this year and take it to the top teams.
You mentioned about the Pac-12. It is one of the toughest conferences in the country. I have to ask, is there a particular team that you'll love to beat the most?
Personally, my sister also plays in the Pac-12. She plays for the University of Washington. So that's got to be the one. That's probably the most rewarding win. But other than that, any team that's ranked, those wins are crazy. We got one last year, our second game against Oregon State, when they were ranked in the top 15. And yeah, the feeling after those ones are pretty amazing.
Kelsey, I need to ask you this. Now, you did mention that you have a sister that plays for Washington in the Pac-12. So how did you fare against them last year? And how's that head-to-head battle between you and your sister at the moment?
Oh, it's definitely intense. It's a lot of fun. Last year we went 1-1, so we won the first game against them and we lost the second one. So no bragging rights yet. We've only got one game in conference this year against them. So it's at our home court, so we got to secure that advantage. It's kind of crazy because at home the house is a little divided. They say they don't have favorites, but they pick and choose on the day. So
now, I have to ask, have you communicated with your sister to see how she's traveling over there?
Yeah, she's injured at the moment, but she's just starting to get back into it. They've got a whole new coaching staff as well, a lot of a new team. So it's going to be a different look when we come out against them this year. But yeah, every phone call ends with "we got you this year." So we'll see.
Sister rivalry. Now, let's go back to your team for a moment. I guess tell us, is there a couple of players on your team we should watch out for the Aussie viewers back home that's going to watch your games either on live stream or obviously I think your games sometimes are on ESPN as well?
Yeah, when our senior point guard, Drew Gilton, she's, I think, one of the best facilitators in the country. She always gets her teammates open. Brynell Maxwell, one of the best shooters as well. And then obviously, like, just our freshmen, I know there's not a lot of expectation put on them, but coming in, like, there's some solid freshmen. It's not like that they're going to kind of just come in and get a few minutes here and there. Like, they're big impact players and they're really making their mark on practice. So honestly, across the board, like, a whole bunch of good shooters, and just it's a good team and a good environment to play in. So,
of course, you do come across a lot of Aussie players in your conference. Obviously, we just mentioned about one of them there in Washington. I guess how special is it to look on the other side of the court and there's some more Aussie players that you're playing against?
Yeah, it's definitely huge. And I think for us especially, we lived at the Centre of Excellence for a couple of years. So a lot of the girls we play against now we lived with, and just to have that rivalry, and like it's always more fun when you're going against someone, and the competitive side's there, definitely.
Tell us a bit about your coaches there at Utah.
My coaches might be a bit biased, but I think they're a pretty good coaching staff. They know how to balance out like work with having a bit of fun off the court. So it's when we're in between the lines going at it, like we're getting yelled at, but it comes from a good place. And then off the court, it's like they're our second family off the court. So I mean, go to their houses for dinner, hang out with their families. It's a really good environment. It's a good mix. So yeah, a good bunch of people.
Both of you had a chance to return home during this pandemic, or have you just purely stayed in the US?
I haven't been home since last August, and I won't plan because the season's starting, so I won't be home till next summer. So it'll be almost 2 years. And
so I kind of got to go home. I went back to Australia in preparation for the Under-19 World Cup in Hungary. So I was in a hotel in Sydney for 2 weeks, and then in Canberra for 2 weeks preparing for that, and then we left to Europe. But unfortunately, because of the border closures, I didn't actually get home to Adelaide, and my family weren't able to come up. But it was still nice being back in Oz, definitely. A lot of things you miss, but yeah, hopefully this time, well, not this time, winter in Australia next year, we'll be back, is the plan.
Kelsey, you mentioned about, obviously, you went with the Australian team over to Europe as well. How did that all go?
Oh, it was amazing. I was really lucky because I kind of felt as at a disadvantage being over in the US just because of the whole COVID pandemic. I couldn't get home for any of the camps, any of that. But I was so lucky with the group of people we had, like just coming into that environment. They'd all been training together for a few months, and me coming in, I just felt like I fit in really easily, and everyone was so nice, and everyone got around it. And then everyone outperforming themselves at the tournament. It was a great tournament as a team, and to come second in the world is something pretty special, that's for sure.
Let's talk a bit about both your basketball journeys. Where did it all start, and why did you choose it?
Well, I played like probably every sport under the sun growing up. So I did like little nippers, like surf, lifesaving, soccer and all that. But I had to choose when I was around probably like 12 years old, and that's what I wanted to do. And I just went through like the representative pathways, played for New South Wales country at nationals, went through that way, then went to the AIS with Kelsey, just through our like junior national teams. And I don't know, once like, I feel like I never like sat down and made an actual decision, oh, this is what I want to do. It just kind of like happened. Like that was the thing I did. It wasn't like I chose it. It was just, that's who I was and that's what I played. So, and everything, like I just did everything in my age groups, was in all those teams, and just kept kind of going on from there. And I knew I wanted to go to college from a young age. It wasn't like something I decided on last minute. So yeah, I just kind of followed the journey where all those teams took me. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, my parents were always around basketball. They always played professionally in WNBL, NBL, and even when I was born, Dad was still in the NBL. But my parents really tried to like not keep us out of basketball, so to speak, but they wanted it to be our choice. So all four of my siblings, like we played every sport under the sun. We played tennis, we played netball, we played cricket, we played football, like anything you could think of, we probably did. And then when we moved down to Tasmania, we're just around the club a lot because my parents played, my older sister started, and that's when I really started to get into it. And then coming back to Adelaide, as Palmer said, going through all your NITPs, and then moving to the Australian Institute of Sport, definitely was the leap that made me decide to, hey, this is really what I want to do, and this is what I want to do for a long time. So yeah.
Now, I know both of you have represented Australia in one way or the other throughout your basketball journey. How special is it to don the green and gold?
Oh, it's crazy. It's such a special experience. Like I remember the first time I put it on, I was some skinny 15-year-old that didn't really talk very much. Palmer will relate to this because I roomed with her and I don't think we said 3 words. But just to have on that uniform, and just even like I remember the first game, just standing there, like the national anthem playing, like it's the most amazing feeling. And it's just something you keep working to get back because that's where you want to be. It's amazing, and you get to represent your country. You have everyone behind you, and yeah, it's crazy.
Like the part of it that I enjoy is that, I mean, I think a lot of us go into nationals. It's like Vic Metro, that's the team you want to beat, or New South Wales, Queensland are like rivalry, but then like you're all like teammates. So you come together and that's the first time you really get to play with each other. And it's like you look around, it's all the best kids from each team at nationals, and it's just pretty cool. Or like when you're playing against the US and or like other just big countries, and you're playing against like the top kids that you see in like colleges now. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's like you really get to test yourself, and then obviously just the pride that comes with playing for Australia, and obviously the national anthem and just wearing green and gold. It's just about like carrying that culture into the different countries that you go to. So it's fun.
It's always the place you strive for too. Like it was everyone's dream growing up, and be able to live out that is something, yeah, that's very special.
You might as well give your local associations back home a bit of a shout out.
I grew up in Penguin basketball, and then I moved to Forestville. Moved to Forestville, and Forestville, the coaches there, Lynn Holland, Damien, and then all the coaches at state level, John, and all the rest of them, yeah, definitely did a lot for me. So I appreciate all those guys and everyone else that helped me throughout the time.
Newcastle Hunters through and through, just the same club since I was like 0. Played every year with them. Those coaches are the same coaches that usually go and coach New South Wales countryside. So they've all been all played a huge role in just my development. But a lot of kids coming out of Newcastle now, it's really puts that association and those kids on the map. So shout out to them.
Kels, you mentioned about Forestville. And I think when I actually got to meet you when you came to Classics and completely clean sweep the competition down here, being all the Melbourne teams down here, I guess which one of those Classic wins was more special to you?
We didn't quite win it this year. We came second, but my last year at Classics was pretty amazing. I'd been living out at the Institute, and to come back down and to be able to play with just all the girls I'd grown up playing with, and to be able to like play against all the Melbourne teams and do so well was, that one was definitely special. And it was a great weekend, just coming back around, as I said, everyone that I'd played with before, being able to like really finish out my juniors with them was, something.
Is there what highlight for you when you played down here in Australia? And especially, I'm assuming, have you been a Victorian team yet?
Maybe like club and like under 14s. We beat like the Vic Country team. We've never got Metro. I think after Vic Country, I think we're pretty even on our records. With Georgia Amor and like Agnes, Eminoku, like we went back and forth every year. So that was we got them a few times. I think a win that we got down in Geelong, my top age year of 18, we got them on the buzzer. So
that was
you did. We always would get into the quarterfinals and then lose that quarterfinal game and play for 5th to 8th. So that was the first year we actually went to the semis. So I think that was a pretty special year.
What does the sport of basketball mean to both of you, especially being there at Utah?
A lot. It's very much become my family, like all of basketball in general. It's like a safe space. It's like, I think lots of what I do is tied to basketball, like just wanting to improve and having a place to go and just get shots up if you're not feeling good, or like to be able to like have an outlet to, I'm not sure where I'm getting at, but like, family and just like such a fun thing, and just goals. I don't know if that made any sense.
I think what you're trying to say is
Thanks.
Like everything you do, it's always connected to basketball in some way. Like people you talk to, like my closest friends from basketball, like if you're having like a tough day, like you usually go to the courts or something, you go to practice and that's your outlet. Or like just your goals. Like I have goals in my career with like school and work and like all of that, family goals, but like overall a lot of it is like channeled through basketball. And I mean, as I've gotten older, I realized that's not like who I am. I'm not Isabel the basketball player. Like that's something I do, but it's like a big part of us. So a lot of our decisions are made through basketball with basketball in mind. Like it's like even whether we consciously think about it or not, like that's just how it is, because it's just ingrained in us.
Yeah. Now, considering both you they're at Utah, and both you've been played with each other down here in Australia as well, how special is to have that special bond?
Good.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. the first time I met Palmer was when before we first moved to Chu. We were actually on I believe it was under 16 Australian team that went to India for the Asian Championships. And I didn't really know anyone on that team. And I got paired up with Palmer as a roommate. And I was pretty quiet. She was pretty quiet. So we didn't really say much. So then I don't know if back then you could imagine us being friends and being playing on the same team in college. Like, it's a crazy thought. And then being able to like go through the whole journey, like seeing the whole journey, seeing like where she came from that tournament to where she is today, and like how we've developed over time, and how as players and as people, like things have changed, and being able to have someone on that journey with you is pretty special.
I mean, when I first came to America, I told Kelsey, like, my criteria in a college was I didn't really want to be like this. No offense to people from other countries, but I didn't want to be on a really international team. Like, I was like, if I'm going to the US, I really want to be immersed in US culture. But then when I transferred, I'm like, obviously I ended up with Kelsey, and it's good to just have like parts. We've been on each other's journey like every like step of the way, not like the whole time. It's not like we've been attached to the hip, but it's like on Oz teams. I haven't been on all the same ones as her, but like we share a lot of memories and they cross over a lot. So, I mean, I obviously have a lot of new friends here, but it's good to have someone who knows me like from when I was like 15, 14 years old. So yeah, it's good.
Let's finish up with a couple of lighthearted questions about your teammates over there in Utah. Firstly, who's the comedian, the best singer, the best dancer on the team?
Oh, the comedian. Oh, we got a few of those this year. I have to say, I don't know if they're comedians, they're just clowns. We have Mark Adasia and Andy will probably take the cake for that. Yeah, they're not serious a whole lot, maybe on the court a little bit, but other than that, yeah, they just clown around a lot. Anesh, yeah.
Well, like on the down low. She doesn't like to, but I reckon she probably takes the cake.
I think we all like to think we can, but we're just.
I can't. I don't even like to think I can. There's no question there.
No, but we're on TikTok a lot, so I mean, you can be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Almost answer my next question. Is anyone into TikToks, and any of them TikTok famous?
We're also TikTok famous.
Yeah, no one's famous. I wonder if I'm on it.
We're trying.
Palmer's page.
Yeah, we're on there. You'll find us. If you go looking, it's not hard.
Either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Like, yeah, but no. I couldn't tell you what I do, but I have to do the same thing every time. I don't know how that works, but like left shoe, the right shoe, and like I do my hair the same way if I'm going well.
Oh, that's hard to say.
I like if I start the season out with braids, and if I'm going well, I'll keep them. But if there's a bad game, then I'll like change it for the next game.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I have the same routine, like warm-up wise, but
yeah.
If I like have a pretty rough day in the office, the game before, then the shoes are changing and the hair's not staying the same. So yeah, gotta change it up.
Now, I always ask any Aussies that I have on the show that are currently over there in the US, these next three, which is, have you convinced any of your teammates to come back to Australia with both of you?
Pretty much everyone. Yeah. When the borders open and when people get the time, we've roped in pretty much the whole team.
I think we've convinced a few to who want to play professionally for a little bit to even try down there. So yeah, they're all down for it.
How's the Aussie accent going over there in the US, especially at Utah?
They struggle. I don't know what else to say. They struggle.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think we've lost anything, but yeah.
We try not to lose it. It's better like this. Not trying to become American. Trying to stick to the Australian vibes.
Now, have you convinced any of your teammates that we got kangaroos as pets?
Yeah, there was someone the other day. I can't remember who, but we were talking about something about that, and we're like, oh yeah, like they're just in the backyard. And they're like, we can take them for walks. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Do you have one? What's it called? Interesting.
Or the drop bears.
Drop bears is a big one.
Yeah.
Well, you literally just answered my next question about drop bears. So is the whole team like now know that we don't have drop bears, or they still think we got drop bears?
I don't know. It's probably 50-50. They might just Google it on their phone.
What would be your advice to people that should get involved in basketball, especially in the Hunter Valley, where you are, is in Newcastle, and obviously over there in Adelaide, where you are, there, Kels?
I would just say that I think basketball is a sport that you really don't need a specific like body type or like, I mean, obviously there's a misconception you have to be tall, but like you're not limited to any part of the court. You don't like, you get to kind of choose what skill like is your like thing. So I mean, whether it's shooting, defense, like whatever, there's a sport and like there's a position for you on the court, like no matter what body type you are or like what you want to get out of the game. I think there's so much that goes into the game of basketball that just give it a try. Like if you don't like it, yeah, it can be physical if you make it that way, or it like you can just, I don't know, you can just manipulate the game a lot to kind of suit you, and it's not so rigid. Like the game of basketball, it's really open to, I know, how you interpret it and how you play. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is for younger kids and even older kids wanting to get involved, find a club that feels like family, and then just go from there. Like no matter where you start, like if you start in a club and maybe you start out just for fun, if you end up loving it, like that might be something you choose to do. It might not be, and that's okay. But like find people you want to be around, and it'll make the sport so fun.
Finish with this one last one. Now, as we mentioned, both of you played with each other since under 15s, 16s. I guess, is there one particular highlight about both your basketball journeys with each other?
I think playing on the Australian team together was pretty special, but back then we didn't really know each other much. So I don't know if it's a highlight with each other, it's just a highlight in general. I remember the first year at Shoot, we had a lot of injuries. And so there was only like 6 or 7 of us that were healthy for the whole season. There was only like 4 of us that were healthy for the whole season. We had 6 or 7 players each game, and it was pretty crazy, like road trips to Melbourne and that. I think that was definitely, at least for me, one of the highlights where I remember Palmer there as well, because me and her and then Izzy Bourne and Taylor Moore were the only ones that played the whole season, and just to get to really play with her and like a lot of experiences down in Melbourne, not being at home. Yeah, it was pretty amazing time.
I don't know, like I don't really, back then, it's like I took it for granted, but I was just kind of in it. I'm like, oh, I'm on the Oz team. Like obviously I was grateful for that, but I'm not like, this is something that's gonna be one of my best memories. I honestly think just from like our paths now, how we're back in Utah, I think our best memories will probably be made like now. And like with some of the adversity and stuff we've been through, and then just being back in Utah playing together, I think it'll be pretty fun. So
definitely, I can't wait. Back on court this year, so let's go.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having both of you on the show, and best of luck for the season coming up, and let's hope it all goes well for Utah in that 2021-22 season, and can't wait when the Pac-12 conference season gets underway early next year, and hopefully you can go all the way and win it all, and especially I can't wait to watch Utah take on Washington in the Pac-12 at home there at Utah.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and thanks for waking up early to accommodate us.
That's all right. No worries. Of course, that's our 2 favourite players there. Of course, Izzy and of course Kelsey. They're joining us from the Utah women's basketball team. Of course, we'll put their team schedule up as well. So you can have a watch their games, of course, which all their games are on live stream as well. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.